Hi, friends. Welcome to Great People Interview Series. Today, I have with me Guy Ellis, who is the managing director and founder of GenZ Insight. Welcome, Guy.
Welcome. Thank you, Section.
Great. Uh, he's got more than 3 decades of experience in, playing corporate roles as well as running his own business, ups and downs, collaborating with people, and so many fascinating stories he's got to tell us. And I must tell you guys that you have been watching, Great People Interview Series so long, but this is going to be a special episode because some of the incidences this guy's got in his book, right? And when I say book, I mean, it's something as good as somebody would write a book on him, right? They are nothing less than a movie. Unbelievable, but truly inspirational because, fighting those incidences and situations in life, he's here to inspire us all. So thank you once again, Guy.
Sure.
Tell us about GenZ Insight. What is this business that you're starting now?
So GenZ Insight we're at pre-launch stage. So we're looking to go live June 2022. And it's a business I'm running with a great friend, Graham Scott. GenZ Insight, the aim, we're just about there, is to provide resources to young people, Gen Z or Gen Z, and supporting them launching and running their own businesses. We've had a lot of background with Gen Z, young people, and we see young entrepreneurs as a hugely exciting cohort, one that we want to support, one that we want to help. Gen Z, it's designed by young people, for young people. Learning resources won't be the traditional, so we're going to have e-learning courses, blogs, videos, of course reference material, but we're going to be delivering that through Instagram, through TikTok, through YouTube.
Wow. So it's not going to be delivered in a traditional way. It's going to be delivered through these channels. Wow, fantastic. Yeah. But then if you're delivering them through Instagram or TikTok, how do you monetize?
So there's two ways. One, firstly, for Graham and I, it's about giving back. So we've both had huge opportunities throughout our past. Graham is an author of young adult books, fiction books. I've worked with young people throughout my entire life. So partly it's about recognizing that, we need to give something back to young people. It's a wonderful cadre. It's a wonderful group of Gen Z. It's a wonderful group with some really great talents. So that's part of it. We will be monetizing the business in a couple of ways. Firstly, we will be offering e-learning courses initially. Minimal cost. We're looking at around £10 per course.
Wow.
We've spent a lot of money on buying courses. We've done a lot of research to buy really appropriate courses. We're also writing around a dozen of our own courses. We've just completed the first one. We're loading that into the system as we speak. That's a terabyte of memory. It's a day-long course. It's going to have probably 15 to 20 videos. It's going to have audios. It's going to have downloadable books and material that you can actually write on. So we're going to be charging for that.
Right.
Numbers to be defined, but for our courses, probably £45, but for the sort of bought-in courses, as little as £10. We're going to also be looking in the near future to be running seminars, coaching sessions, so where young people can actually connect with other young entrepreneurs, so people that are just ahead of them in that entrepreneurial journey, or if they're really desperate, they can connect with Graham and I for a few wise words and make them feel good, knowing that they know more than we do. So those are the sort of two immediate things. We're looking to shortly launch a scholarship course, scholarship facilities where companies can actually pay for young people to join our resources.
Wow.
We're going to create a community where for as little as £10 a month, you can get access to all of our resources at a half price. And in the medium term, we're going to be talking to corporates, and that's where we see the sort of long-term monetization. We're very incredibly sensitive of reputation and making sure that we only work with trusted providers. But we believe that if we've got this really impressive group of young people, that there are going to be corporates out there that want to access that. And in order for us to keep those prices as low as possible for young people, we're just going to have to charge corporates to provide potential services. So we think it's a very much we think we can monetize the business, but fundamentally this is about good resources, well-researched resources at an affordable price for young people, particularly young people who may have had difficulty starting off in life. I'm actually dyslexic myself. I think it's my superpower, quite frankly, but I know that the education system often sees dyslexia as a disability. So we want to approach those, ensure that people see that just because the education system doesn't quite connect with your own skills, it's no barrier to being successful in business and in your future life.
Wow, that's incredible. I think what you're doing is, great. And, the story behind this and your thought process behind this is amazing. I'm sure, this is going to help a lot of people, and that's your intention anyway. And hence you're thinking, well, let me monetize, in a different way, but not necessarily charge the people who are actually going to be the recipient of the knowledge.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily have, afford to pay. Because when you said, young people, young entrepreneurs, and I was thinking, well, they're already short of money, and, how they're going to pay for all these services and learnings. But I think you've got a great model there, and you and Graham for coming out with this kind of a model and thought process.
Well, I think for both Graham and I came to the UK when I was 21. I didn't exactly have a great start to my life. I had incredible support from people, from colleagues, friends around me when I came out to the UK. We want to give some of that back. We don't want to charge excessively for, providing access to great resources. There's a lot of resources out there, but very little of it's dedicated and devoted to young people.
Yeah,
it's traditional. It's sad when you read some of the material that's linked to banks and other places. It's written for 40, 50, 60-year-olds.
Yeah.
Very dry, very boring. We make no pretense. We're not Gen Z. We're not young people. We've got some wonderful young people that we're working with. We provide that sort of overview, but they provide content. They drive, what we do on TikTok and Instagram. This is a resource, by young people for young people.
Right. So, Guy, I also wanted to know for our audience, you have a lot of experience in the HR side, and so tell us something more about what you have been doing in HR, and of course now training is a new venture.
Yeah.
Tell us more about your HR experience.
So I've had a really fascinating. I've had a great career. I came to the UK at the age of 21. I worked for a couple of really impressive companies, Packard, Bank of America, and others. I was a human resources director at 29, so very young, and I've worked on range of projects and a range of different things across my career. Thought I was doing really well, had my first child at sort of 32, 33, and recognized that actually, job titles, money were sort of quite meaningless, and my priorities changed significantly. Started my own business again. My first business, I was started at 17, but I started another one, when I was 33. And since that time, I've worked for clients. I do typically big projects, sort of major figures, lots of people, restructurings, new systems introduction. But also I've done a lot of training. I've worked around Europe, Russia, South Africa, across the continent, delivering training to HR people. I've also, consulted in many countries. So I've done a lot of bits and pieces. I've had a business back in 2007 or so with another good friend, setting up and selling HR services to HR people to help them get better. So, when Graham and I got together with Chris, another friend, a couple of years ago, it just played to all of our strengths. Courageous HR, which was the business that Chris and I set up. We had some horror stories. We had some great times. I still look very fondly on that time. But we faced, so many different issues. We were talking earlier about, I was off to see a client, literally taxi had turned up, and they shut down Heathrow because a plane had crashed at the end of the runway. We got caught up in the Icelandic volcano, stuck in Portugal. We had a massive event for a very big multinational, people flying in from all over the world, and the day before, swine flu hit us, and so the entire event was cancelled. To going off to Egypt and finding out that the client's factory had burnt down. I mean, we literally could just.
As I was saying at the start, this is absolutely like a movie. This doesn't happen in real life.
It does.
If it has happened with you, I'm sure you are a special one, or as they say, you're the chosen one.
Well, and the thing is, you just, like any good entrepreneur, you just have to get on with it. You just have to accept what the world gives you, the life gives you, and then get on with it and change.
Absolutely. That's the key. And I think that's what, I want audience to listen to is, I think it's good to have a laugh now because it's been done, it's past. But when you're going through such a situation, you feel that, why is it happening with me? Why me? And, how can this happen to me? Because this is such a, rare occasion to happen, right? But, look at, the approach he's taken. Guys, I think, you got to listen to him and see, he's taken a very simple approach. Well, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm just going to get on. And if that is the situation, let me find a solution.
Well, GenZ Insights is another classic example. So Graham, Chris and I started it 2.5 years ago. We wanted to focus on apprenticeships, helping companies spend their apprenticeship money, especially with young people. We realized the government had made it so complex. We didn't have the desire to hire a huge team of admin supporters.
Right.
We then pivoted to think about how we could help companies hire people and integrate young people into their businesses. COVID-19 came along, and we realized that companies weren't going to be hiring many staff at all, so we pivoted a third time. We had met up with this wonderful young woman, Al, who was running her own business, part of the team, founded Twipes. Spoke to other key friends, and we just, entrepreneurship, something that's been a passion of mine for sort of 30 years. It's like, well, maybe this is the right time for young people for the UK. Entrepreneurship in the UK has always had a bit of a bad press, but young people. Graham and I have written a book about, Gen Z and the workplace, and became very clear that, young people today are really interested in starting their own businesses. They really do have that drive and passion to make it work.
Yeah.
So that came together for our third pivot to what we have today, which is GenZ Insight. We've spent thousands, tens of thousands of pounds on systems. We are literally just about to launch. It's so fascinating, such a good buzz.
Probably the right time. You're about to launch and we are having this discussion. So, it's probably good timing as well.
It is. Well, everything is, I'm a great believer in what will be, and absolutely this is a great time. It's a great opportunity. But more importantly, it's not about us. It's about, young people. There's not a lot of support for young people out there. We think that there's a real marketplace. A lot of people, my children have been well educated. I've been incredibly lucky to have earned, enough to put my kids through good schooling. But I didn't do that. I didn't have that schooling myself. I went to an equivalent of a rough, tough comp in New Zealand. And, role models, where are the role models for young entrepreneurs? Where are those resources? There's lots of resources out there, but where's the resources that talk to them? Those sort of short videos, punchy, but supported by longer material. That's what we should be focusing on. We're not focusing on, the well-educated, entrepreneurs, young people. Of course, we'd love them to join us. Of course, we'd like them to be part of it. But we're sensitive that young people are looking for a couple of things, well-researched resources that they can trust, role models they can talk to, and we're going to try and provide both of those for young people.
Great. So as you launch,
passionate session.
Yeah. So as you launch,
Yes.
as you start, how you plan to reach out to these young entrepreneurs? Who is your audience?
You haven't seen our TikTok and Instagram videos yet. Again, Graham and I are driving this at a strategic level, but all the work is being done by young people. We have marketing, we have a lot of it already in place, ready to go. Those short videos, those short punchy Instagram, feeds. Again, the material itself, the e-learning, we've got, short 15-20-minute videos on selected topics. We've got longer in-depth articles, longer in-depth e-learning on sort of the bigger journey. So attracting young people, retaining, it's going to be a combination of multi-faceted, different learning, methods, the stuff that they're used to at school in terms of videos, auditory, and so forth.
Right.
Well as, approaching them through their own social media avenues. We are not doing paid advertising, for instance. We do not believe that paid advertising works for young people.
Right.
They're far too canny. However, if we can put, really good material on Instagram, on TikTok, we can get, we can attract people through that route because we're actually talking to them in a language that they use, every day.
Fantastic. So that's the way to attract the young crowd, and obviously, because you're giving them the right kind of content in the right format, in their language, in their style. It's easy to retain them as well as your audience, which is fantastic strategy. And I think, needless to say that you have, as well as Graham, your partner, and you have a lot of experience over decades to be able to come to this sort of strategies. So in your journey, or journeys, should I say, right? What was your biggest challenge and how did you overcome it?
People are always stressed. They're my greatest source of inspiration and my greatest frustration. In terms of GenZ Insight, COVID has been one of the biggest frustrations. This is our third pivot. been unable to talk, face to face with people. I have my daughter has just started work, and for the first 3 months she was all online, and she had the opportunity earlier this year to go and see people face to face. And she summed it up for me. She said, "Dad, look, online's good, and I get stuff done, but I couldn't believe the difference it's made. When I've met people in the flesh, when I've met people face to face, we talked about stuff outside of work. I got to know them a lot better." And I mean, that's an issue that all young people are going to have to face over the coming years. And that for us was one of our biggest challenges, in setting up GenZ Insight. Graham and I are really good friends. We've been friends for many, many years. We know each other. But even we found that when you're dealing, with each other remotely, it's difficult. So in the end, Graham, would come and stay with me for 3 or 4 days a week, just so that we would be in the same building. We could talk face to face as we needed to. That was one of the big issues that we thought. One of my big concerns for GenZ Insight going forward is actually how we select corporate providers. Excuse me. Reputation is so important for young people. So, we're not going to start signing up every corporate provider that wants us, but how do I ensure that we have great partners who are offering a great service that are actually got, strong values that they live by? So I see that as one of my big issues moving forward.
Yes.
I'm very comfortable with my values. Graham and I have built this business on some very strong values, but we have to be able, we have to continue to communicate that to young people and our partners and the people that we're working with, and try and sacrifice potential income. Almost certainly we'll sacrifice income to ensure that we're working with companies that we trust and demonstrate the sort of ethics. Old-fashioned word, but demonstrate those ethics that we find acceptable.
All right. So I guess meeting up with your partner and staying a few days together in the same building is kind of overcoming a lot of these challenges. Is there any other way you keep your extended team motivated?
And it is. I mean, there's now 6 of us across mainly the south, so from London through to the south of England. A lot of almost all of it's done remotely. We try and create social environments where we can meet up for a meal and so forth. For young people, it's really tough, as I say. They've had no experience of working in a working environment they have at school or university, but in a work context, that's very different, as you know. And the pragmatic answer is, once we start earning money, we're going to have to put finances aside to not only create those virtual teams, but also opportunities for us to get together in real life and create those social bonds, what I call social capital. Because we are social animals, and we always work better when we know, trust, and have real experience of each other.
Hi there. I just wanted to share with you all why London School of Digital Business is doing this Great People interview series. Well, for the last few years, small and medium businesses have been facing lots of challenges. Individuals have been wondering what's going to happen to their careers because of these emerging trends and technologies, artificial intelligence, VR, AR. What's going to happen? It feels as if the world is changing. And then COVID hit, and there is a lot of depression in the minds of people. So we thought we need to bring in some positivity, bring in some motivation and inspiration. And it's all good to know these stories of, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates. But we wanted to talk about the extraordinary stories of the people that you get to see in the ordinary world. They are no way ordinary people. They are great people, but they are the ones you can relate to. Hence, we thought this is something that we want to bring in to increase the chances of success for many, motivate them, give them the insights. I'm so happy to share that every leader has shared completely unique and different insights because their situations have been different. Somebody was alone, and we know that entrepreneurs are alone at the top and how it feels, and they fought their challenges. Somebody had partnership, business partners, and somebody could not survive the business partnership, so they had to rebuild themselves. Somebody thought, well, I could have done this differently if I was to go back in time. So every insight is so unique. I must thank all the people who shared their journeys, and I'm sure this will help you all succeed in life, increase the chances of your success, as well as reach there faster, and of course, achieve happiness in life. Thank you for listening. Right. So we're talking about, the work side and the personal side of a person, and you talked about the social element. So maybe it's good time to get on to the next set of questions, which is more about, you as a person. And the answer is not necessarily, the educational stuff, but it could be more about just fun and having to know you.
Absolutely.
So here goes a few rapid fire questions. Right. Number one, if you were to go back in time, what we would have done differently?
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Oh, wow.
Every experience, I've had so many wonderful experiences, but the ones that I remember probably more than most are the ones where I made mistakes, where things didn't go right, where I felt, in the pit of my stomach that I'd made a mistake or done something wrong, where, it's those frustrations, and that, all of those experiences make me who I am, and I'm in a good space. I've got some wonderful kids, great friends, a wonderful opportunity to support young people, others. It's been a really tough couple of years. I had an interesting childhood. All of that makes me who I am, and why would I want to do anything other than just simply embrace all that learning and use that, to move forward?
Wow, amazing. So what's your favorite holiday destination?
So I've got incredibly frustrated over the last couple of years because I love holidays. I'm big into ancient history. So a couple of years ago, I was in Jordan. This year, I've been in Iceland, New Zealand, visiting family, but also traveling a bit. I've just come back from Saudi Arabia. I'm off to, my daughter and I are talking about going to Morocco later in the year.
Wow.
Girlfriend and I are talking about either Spain, Seychelles, or Croatia. So we're not quite sure yet. But I don't have a single place. I love traveling.
I've been to Seychelles, by the way. It's really beautiful. It's one of those serene places. Morocco, we have a university in Morocco where we have a collaboration, and they're inviting me to be there for a day or so I can address all the students, etc. So there is a plan to go to Morocco in a month.
Well, maybe you and I can connect, or maybe you can put me in touch with them, and I can.
Why not? Absolutely. Yeah, sure. Great. So But when I plan for, I have been to Australia, but not New Zealand. So when I plan that, I'll definitely take your tips way to,
Of course.
and normally where, not the tourist places, but, the places to explore.
Yeah, it's a wonderful country in New
It
Zealand.
is. It is. I
It's
heard, and I made plans many times, but I had some, limitations sometimes. Not, as hard as some of your problems, not planes crashing and volcano acting, but but something that didn't work. Uh, so you keep talking about your family and your kids. So just tell us more about your family.
two children, daughter just out of university. I've been working for the last 6 months. She's 22, almost 23. A son who's just finishing his second year, and another year to go. Just wondering whether he should take a year out or not at this time. So absolutely blessed with my family, absolutely blessed with my kids. Love them to bits, but also incredibly proud to see them making their way into adulthood and their next stage of their journey.
Amazing, fantastic. Well, I'm sure when they watch this interview, they'll be very proud to uncover uh, your amazing insights to young people. Well, so the last and the conclusion of the interview and most interesting part of the interview, uh, tell us more about your goal and ultimate goal that you might have decided for yourself in the business.
So ultimate goal for the business, no pretense. We're looking to set up GenZ Insight. I'm looking to hire great talent, great young people, and I want them running the business within 3 to 5 years. I'm looking forward. I'm not old in many ways. Well, I'm not old at all, and certainly I feel very young. But I've been looking after my family. My family's been my priority for the last 20 years. And I want to go traveling. I want to see and enjoy the world. I want to be able to be in a position where I can help others and not have to worry about, financially, supporting myself. So this business for both Graham and I is about setting something up, hiring great young people to run it, providing a sort of guiding hand in the background, but actually, ensuring that this truly does become a business, for young people, run by young people. So that's our very clear goals.
Fantastic. And the last one, what would be your advice for the young entrepreneurs?
Advice. Resilience is probably the most important. I was incredibly lucky in my childhood to have faced some really tough times, and that's given me resilience. It's given me the knowledge that no matter what the world throws at me, I can deal with it. For many young people, that's not always the case. Society tries to make childhood as stress-free as possible. And that's great. I did the same thing for my kids, but when we get into, our adulthood, that resilience takes time to build. So, my advice for young people, there are, resources out there. GenZ Insight is being one of them. There are resources, there are people, there's inspiration, but treat, adversity in the same way that, you treat, the good times as a learning opportunity, as something to think about, reflect on and use going forward, and recognize that, everything will pass. The worst times of your life, it can only get better. Obviously, at the best times of your life, it will swing again. But, when things are really tough, deep breath, step back, regather, and, plow on.
Brilliant. Well, Guy, thank you so much for your time and so many
Pleasure.
insights. I think there's so much to learn through this interview. I'm sure the audience is going to love this. It's one of the unique interviews we have ever had. You have been through a lot of journeys, and I'm sure your Gen Z is going to help a lot of young entrepreneurs. My appeal to the audience is, watch out for Gen Z Insight. They're launching soon, and they're going to have a lot of resources for you. And as you have probably heard, a lot of this is going to be at very low cost. They believe in giving back to the society, and that's the motive. So you can expect a lot of good stuff, and it is by young people, so it will be in your style, it will be in your language, but at the same time, it is driven by really heavyweight, experienced people like Guy, who's been through a lot of stuff since his childhood. And he keeps saying, he started his business at 17, but let me tell you, he's actually started his professional activities at 11. So you can imagine the kind of experience he's got, different countries, New Zealand and UK. So, he could give you a different perspective as well, being, traveled around the world. So, well, that's all we have time today. So thank you once again, Guy.
Thank you, Sachin. I thank you for giving me the opportunity, and I appreciate your interest. So thanks.
Cheers. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.